Here is a two-part urethane foam product that I think I will use. I think I paid about 69 bucks for these two parts, A, B, a US gallon each, I think it is. Pretty close to it. Anyhow, and this is what it comes out being. This was mixed in the garage here. This stuff is kind of cool, like probably 55, probably 60 Fahrenheit, 55, and I did hold it up to the heater up here at one point just to try and get it to kick off a bit. It was slow doing that. My plan is if I use it in the boat out there in the cool, I will heat this up in water. I have a container here I've used for heating epoxy. I just put hot water in that and let this get warm. I'll redo the labels on top. Well, I've got the A and the B on it, but anyhow, this is 8-pound epoxy, 8 pounds a cubic foot. I guess Coast Guard says something like US Coast Guard says use 4-pound. A lot of people use 2-pound because it goes farther, but there isn't that much flotation difference. You still get like something like 50. Anyhow, you get a fair bit of flotation per cubic foot. And this is supposedly grows, this 8-pound per cubic foot stuff grows roughly, if you have the proper temperature for it, like 70, 75 Fahrenheit, it will grow 8 times its volume. So this is enough here to do, believe it or not, I guess 8 cubic foot is what I think they said. So I'll fill part of the cavity of the beneath the floor with this stuff, and I hope that it will sort of seal the bottom. It will also level it so that it can put regular urethane foam on top. I've got some blue foam here and some of the pink here. I've been cutting some stuff to roughly fit. So that's about it for right now. Okay, here we are in the boat. What you see here is foam that I've pieced together. It's not glued to the hull, it just floats there. But I've glued the pieces of foam together just so they wouldn't go out of place, like where I could anyhow. So there we go, it's all pieced together. And I figured out the total flotation that I've added, including the pieces I showed previously that will go back there, back against the stern, and including what's under the floor here. I estimate there's about a net buoyancy of, just with the foam, 454 pounds, approximately. So anyhow, I'll show here this, see there, the buns there, that's poured foam, and there is a little bit under here too. That poured foam just, even though I heated up the components, the A and B components above room temperature, and I had it hot, warmer in here, when it hit the cool hull, it just wouldn't expand. So instead of getting 8 times expansion on this 8-pound per cubic foot foam, I only got maybe 4 pounds, 4 times expansion. So I just thought I'd save the foam for something else I could use, and I will piece it together here. Okay, it's pretty tough stuff. What I got there, I'd use a chisel, and I could just pierce it with a putty knife, and I had to cut it out around the drain holes and everywhere along the little tunnel along the center. It's not really a keel, but a tunnel. I don't know if you can see, but there is a hole down there at the very bottom. See, oops, there's a hole. Okay, so there are holes on each side. Yeah, that doesn't matter if that broke. It's just filling space. Okay, that's the flotation for the boat documented. Just one more thing. I'm looking up here above the bow, right here under the deck. There is foam under there, and depending what I do with the deck, I will be either leaving the foam there or possibly replacing it. Other places I will be putting foam is where possible, behind cabinets and so on. I will line some of the hull because I'd like to get some of the flotation above the water line as well. Not all just sitting on the bottom. Flotation in the bottom is nice, but if you had a swamp boat, it basically says, hey, I want to float upside down. Okay, the weather's warming up tonight, and so tonight I might start putting this floor down. I've got my pieces ready to go. one other thing I'll mention is fillers or putty to glue the floor down. What it sounds like the best thing for me to use, and from the way I like to handle it, is this colloidal silica stuff is good. I had a whole bucket of it this size, and I've already used it on the rest of the boat already. And I wish I had another bucket, because I can buy a whole bucket of this from US Composites for about the same, or well, I guess with shipping it would come out more than that, but it's actually the same or less for a huge bucket of that as opposed to the West Systems. But what I'll do is I will mix colloidal silica along with milled fiber, which is basically a fiberglass powder, and I'm actually running kind of low on that too. I'm not going to put any chopped strand in it because that would make it a little too dry to bond, but it's mainly going to be colloidal silica and milled fiber. Because it's below waterline, I'm using this as opposed to the cotton flock. So anything, once I get the deck down, I'm going to start using the cotton flock, because this thing's basically full. I haven't used it, and it should be good for above ground. Or above, not below the, in the wet areas under the deck or below waterline. Okay, one other thing is for helping with that. I thought, hey, using syringes, it's kind of hard to mix. Yeah, I'd be continually mixing it. I want to mix up sufficient quantities, and I think I'll have a place to use these when I'm putting the floor down and doing some filling around the floor. They give you a little piston to put in, so you can just mix up this stuff like the peanut butter, fill it in, and you get a nice, what was it, 10 fluid ounces. And that's an alternative to using these syringes. I got a whole bunch of these here. How many, what capacity is this? This is like a big irrigation syringe. I'm not sure. Anyhow, these are useful too, especially they've got the nice fine tip on it. Filling screw holes or pumping stuff through small holes when you're bonding. So, epoxy. I've got some left. I've got about 4 or 5 gallons left. I was very surprised. I added it up the other day. I've already used around 22 US gallons of, when you combine the epoxy resin and hardener. I've used 22 or so gallons so far, and I probably am going to use another 10 by the time I'm done with the boat, but I'll be up to the 30, yeah, maybe 30 US gallon range. That's a lot, and that's a big expense for epoxy, but epoxy is strong stuff. So that's it for now.